Hello everyone and welcome to All Directions Podcast live for the first time in fucking forever.
It has been a very long time.
It's been an extremely long time.
If I don't think there is actually a live version of this podcast available on the channel.
No, there isn't. I think the only live stuff that... No, in fact, other than what we originally had on the channel, we've only ever done live streams on livestream.com.
Yeah, we did a live on livestream.com years ago, probably like 4 or 5 years ago now. No, actually no, it wasn't that long. It was about 3 years ago. Only one of them was actually really successful, to be honest. At all, or at least decent.
I think on live stream we only had like a couple of people that we didn't know, as far as I remember. But the rest of them were people that we actually knew.
We did what was it, an 8-hour live stream that was on this channel.
Yep.
That must have been about like 2 years ago or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't bad. It was just certain information that was leaked in those videos meant that they could no longer be public. So,
oh wait, hang on! I've just realised something about the stream. If you look at it, it's really subtle, but our logo seems to be fading away into nothingness.
Really?
I think so.
I've not noticed this. I'm monitoring the stream right now, and I've not noticed this at all.
It's like I say, it's incredibly subtle, but it's slowly, very slowly fading into black.
What? Why?
I assume it's to do with the fade. Hang on.
Oh, technical issues, people. This is gonna happen every time, whenever we do live.
Wait, hang on. If I change that duration to like, I don't know, 99999.
Can you not just turn it off?
Well, I mean, not really. It's slowly going away.
Well, I still haven't noticed it on my side yet, but like you said, it's very subtle. So
have you not noticed that the background's suddenly like grey?
Well, it was kind of grey to begin with.
Oh, okay. Either that or my eyes are just fucking dead.
I'm really hoping it's your eyes are just fucking dead.
Oh well, never mind.
Oh well. Yeah. If the image on the screen just goes to complete black and somehow we don't realize first, we know. Never know about it.
I'll be realizing that.
Yeah. I'm keeping a close eye on it myself. I haven't noticed any pictures yet.
I hand on my fucking heart. I swear it's just getting darker.
That might just be on your side. Are you sure it's not just your entire screen that's slowly fading?
No, because I'm flipping between the YouTube stuff and OBS. It's definitely getting darker.
Oh well, what are you gonna do?
No, I that's why I have no idea. No, wait, hold on. It might actually just be me. It might
I think it's just you.
What is wrong with my eyes in that case? What the hell?
Oh, jeez. Great start, as usual.
Teething problems. It's always teething problems.
You know, I don't even know if we can call it teething problems anymore. I think we just have very bad luck when it comes to doing anything live.
No, I think we have bad luck when it comes to doing anything in general.
Well, that's pretty much true. But I don't think we've ever had like a single live stream ever happen without something really wrong happening at the very beginning.
Yeah, that's pretty much. And we didn't do any tests today.
We didn't do any tests today, but we did about 5 yesterday.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But like I said, I mean, with the 8-hour one, which was split off into like 4 parts. I mean, there was something wrong in every single one of those, despite the fact that we're doing like the stream 4 times that day. I mean, half the time, like either the intro happened and there was no music, or the intro just didn't happen at all.
Yeah.
Or in a similar case, like with this podcast, you had to wait about 10 minutes before the bloody thing actually started. Anyway, on with the show. Yeah.
Pretty much. So,
Right.
dearest cousin, what have we got on the tables for today?
Well, we've got a few topics today, as per usual. We're going to start out the show with Christopher wants to talk a bit about VR chat, so we'll see what he has to say about that. Then we're going to go into deep diving into fan theories and some of the stuff that's all about. Probably specifically focusing on the reason you clicked on this video in the first place, which is a bunch of different like Snoke theories and all that. We're just going to dive into them, see why they're all ridiculous or why some of them have some plausibility to them. And then we're going to give the real at the end.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Although let's get into it. Just be transparent. We are using a pre-established list. It is from ranker.com.
So some of these theories exist before the time of The Last Jedi and all that. But we're still going to penalize them for it.
Actually, hold on. It's a little weird because hold on. Let me double check something on this site. Because it looks like it's got a voting system where the numbers are, but to me the voting system doesn't really make sense because number 12 is standing at 1,718 votes, and then you've got number 11 that stands at 1,512 votes. So I don't really know how that works or how they actually implement this.
I think they're just basing it off of what's the most plausible, you know.
Hi Cody, welcome.
Do you know what Cody's real name is?
I do now, apparently.
All right.
How you doing, man?
Radio, let's we won't, don't worry, this isn't live or anything.
Not at all.
No one will see this
ever.
So let's jump into it then.
Well, I mean other people are going to be coming in, my dude, because they're asking for the link. But yeah, let's get on with these are the VR chat stuff.
VR chat is where you want to start.
Yeah. Well, before I start rambling on about VR chat myself, do you have any do you know anything about VR chat, or are you pretty much in the dark, or?
Sort of in a middle ground with it, really. I've not went into VR chat myself. I've watched a few videos. I've watched a few videos on it.
Yeah.
But in my basic experience from watching all those videos is it's kind of, it reminds us a lot of, what was it, like Gary's Mod or something?
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
There is no normal day going into VR chat. You know, you're gonna bump into a lot of randoms with some personalities, to say that.
You have no idea how fucking true that is. You really don't.
But yeah, it seems like a fun time. I'll say that much.
Oh, it is. I have enjoyed myself immensely. In fact, it has taken up most, if not all, of my free time. I don't even play like. Wait, hold on. What's the last game I played? Let me open up. Let me open up Steam real fast. And then my computer decides to be slow. Well done, computer.
God, I mean, of course that's gonna happen.
Like the last thing I played. In fact, no, I didn't even play anything. I was just testing to see if stuff would run.
Yeah.
I actually checked Overlord, which actually does run, but I have to run in window mode.
Right.
I have tested Gary's mod. That seems to run far better. I get like easily over 100 frames a second, which is wonderful. One of the ones I was disappointed by is the fact that I can't run Fallout 3 right now for some unknown Windows 10 error. I might have played a little bit of Battlefront 2, but that's about it.
Right, okay. So what you're saying is VR chat has occupied a lot of your gaming time.
It has.
Yeah.
And it's exactly for the reasons that you pointed out. It's because there is literally not a day that I have been in VR chat where anything is the same. Every day is different. I always meet new people.
You mentioned that you don't play the game using a VR system. You just play it like regularly.
No, mouse and keyboard, which is actually how most people play VR chat right now.
Really? It's called VR chat. I mean,
it is, but it's like it's nice that they have the option there for people who don't have a VR
get us wrong. It is. I completely agree with that. I just find it strange that the majority of people who use it aren't VR headset users.
I mean, there hasn't been a day that I haven't went in there and there hasn't been someone who doesn't use one. One of the guys in the clan, well, I suppose clan would be a more friendly way to use the terminology on YouTube, but there's a couple of people in the clan that I'm in, and there's a few other people that I know now who use a VR headset and the hand controller stuff. So it's not like you're going to go in there and only meet people who use mouse and keyboard.
Yeah. I mean, what was that? What was the chat thing that used to exist for PlayStation?
Oh, PlayStation Home.
PlayStation Home, because you were quite heavy into that back when.
Oh yeah, I was. That was my daily thing.
Yeah. So do you think VR chat is like your new PlayStation Home?
To some degree, VR chat is still in the very early stages, but if it gets anywhere like close, actually no, I don't even think I want it anywhere close to PlayStation Home. I think the experience in VR chat is far better because for one, it's first person perspective, and like it goes into stuff like if your avatar height's different, you will actually change your perspective and stuff. Yeah. So if you have your really tall avatar, you will have that really tall aspect on everything. And if you're really small, and if you're really, really small, you can literally be like a character who's like 4 inches tall, and you will have that aspect ratio.
Right.
So in some aspects, it's actually better than PlayStation Home, but where PlayStation Home actually takes the cake, especially back then, is the fact that you could have your own house, you can customize that said house, and you could have your own space to do stuff.
Right.
You can't have your own space in VR chat, but it's more like you create your own instance, and you can set it to like only friends can come in, or only people that you invite can come into said world. It does have extra bonuses where instead of like having to pay a fee for some clothing, which you used to have to do on PlayStation Home with some of the cosmetic items, you can just literally, it's more advanced, but you can literally just either from scratch you can create your own avatar, or you can pick bits and pieces of other avatars that are available online. Piece of advice: if you do see an avatar that you like, it's all rigged and ready to go and stuff, but the artist really doesn't want you to use it unless you've asked for permission and stuff. Go and do that, because a lot of people have actually been taking like avatars from, or rather CG models from DeviantArt without asking, and apparently some of the artists don't actually like that, and they don't want their avatars to be don't want their CG models to actually be in VR chat. And I can kind of respect that, because then it's like you're representing what this person has created, as however you want to interpret that. And if you take it the wrong way, it could be something either against their personal beliefs and stuff, and
Well, to be honest with you, just based off of the personalities that you often find on something like VR chat, it's quite understandable why someone might not want their model being represented
Yeah.
in a space like that.
I mean, fair enough if you go and ask and you get permission and stuff. I mean, there has been, I don't remember where, but there was somebody I was listening to about, I think, this exact topic, and he was like, oh, I went and asked the artist beforehand, and he actually had to use Google Translate because the artist in question didn't speak English, Japanese. But he sent them a message and they were fine with it. But if it turns out that you're just taking the taking the artwork and not asking whatsoever, especially if it doesn't say in the description where you can, it's like free for commercial use and stuff, then that's really not a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. So then, since you wanted to talk so heavily about VR chat, and since we know there's so many interesting people that show up on the game, have you got any interesting stories of your time spent inside that world?
Oh, gee. Here's the problem with me in telling stories. If you wanted a story from years ago, I can easily do that. But if it's it is an amazing game. It is an amazing game. If you want a story from years back, I can pull that out the top of my head. If you want something, if you want a story from something that I'm currently doing, that's a little bit more difficult, because I'll tend to, because it's always I'm a living in the moment kind of guy, you know. I won't remember yesterday. I'm trying to think of a specific one, because I don't play VR chat as myself. I do play as a character. I play as Lord Beerus, God of Destruction from Dragon Ball Super. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you, Cody. Okay. Yeah. So, like I was saying, I play as a specific character. I try to imitate the voice as best as I can, and people seem to praise me for it for some reason.
Good.
Which I'm actually rather flattered, and I thank everybody who does give me such a compliment. It's very nice. An example of my character is obviously, like, I tried to play the character, but like I don't fully play them. I try to play this character as if they were me, but I'm still that character. So a good example would be yesterday. Me, Cody here, and a few others from the clan and his clan were in the Great Pug, which is a very popular bar to go and visit.
Right.
I say popular bar as if it's just like down the street, but it kind of is, because there's oh god, that's really weird and philosophical stuff. It's literally no distance at all. I don't have to travel anywhere. It's just there in front of my face.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're having a party because we just came up with some terms between our clan, which are the Knights Templar, and the other clan, which is oh god. Hold on, I'll get it, Cody. I swear I will. I promise you I will. The Skooma Gang. That's it. So our two clans are now basically what's the word? Joint in arms kind of deal.
Yeah.
So you know, we actually had pretty much a meeting which ended up as good as I actually expected it to be. People jumping on the table and stuff and getting distracted.
Of course. I expect nothing less.
Yeah. But either way, we finished up the discussions and whatnot, and we go to the Great Pug, and it's all good, and you know, everybody's like talking, drinking. I say drinking, air quotes, drinking. So yeah, everybody's having a good time, and Cody apparently is a a virtual drug dealer along with
All
some
right.
other members of his clan. and you know, with me being a cat and stuff, and Skooma actually being created by the Khajiits from the Elder Scrolls series, who are also cat people, for those people who do not know. He tells me that he's got some cat grass, and like he gave me essentially a free sample, which now is gonna have to turn into like some kind of story arc of mine.
Right.
He gave me a free sample of cat grass, and you know, and I actually I rolled a cigarette for it and stuff, and like the cigarette would keep going out, so I would press the mic button and like flick my lighter so everybody could hear that it sounded like I'm lighting up. So yeah, I spent that entire night. In fact, it was last night. The entirety of like last night, and actually no, it was most of last night, because I did go at like 8 o'clock in the morning ish, so I could get ready for this stuff. But yeah, I spent the entirety of the rest of my playthrough essentially being a really shit-faced Lord Beerus who would say the most outlandish stuff that I could have imagined that Beerus was said. I had people laughing and stuff. It's a really great time, and I especially love the people in it. Hell yeah.
So, I mean, for anybody that ends up watching this and isn't priorly aware of the story, like yourself and Cody here, do you want to give us some examples of these outlandish things?
Cody was there. Cody's one of the heads of the Skooma gang. Let's see, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Cody. What's it? Actually, I can't repeat some of the stuff that I said.
Sure you can.
I can't, because YouTube will end up censoring it, my dude.
Oh well, I mean,
when I say outlandish, it was rather outlandish. Although one of the minor things that I said at one point was, one of my clan members came over and told me to. No, I went downstairs. Okay, Cody's the head. Okay, I'll remember that. I went downstairs, and there was like everybody was like gathered around one of the seating areas, and most people were leaving. The head of our clan, or His Holiness. Hold on, I will get the name because I am stupid and I forget things. And he's offline. Hang on. His Holiness Blonick was downstairs and talking to some of the other members and whatnot, and just hanging out. And one of our clan members asked. I was talking to everybody. He asked me to count how many chairs there are, and I said that there are no chairs, there are no tables. The place is literally empty, and there's only us there. Kind of deal. I might be paraphrasing, but that's essentially what I said. Everybody was just laughing. Later on, they then asked me again, and I said that there are 17 chairs. And oddly enough, there were 16 chairs there. So I wasn't too far off, but I thought I was being really dumb.
No, man, I mean, paraphrasing or not, that shit's deep.
Is it?
Yeah. There's nothing there. There's only you. Oh, that's a message for the kids.
Oh, no. I was there. Everybody else was there, but everything else was just gone.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Although I suppose you could spin off into just like philosophical stuff and be like, oh, it's only you and the people that matter in any specific area.
Exactly. Although, to be fair, you can kind of spin anything off into
That's very true. That is very true.
Yeah.
We do all directions because we go in all directions.
Exactly.
It's literally.
So we are very philosophical.
Yeah, but yeah, VR chat is is a wonderful time, and I'm actually glad that I can run it on this PC of mine.
I bet you are. I bet you are.
Absolutely. I'm actually mainly because of VR chat. I am definitely going to get some kind of VR setup.
Oh well, it doesn't surprise us at all.
Why is that?
It's just because you're so deeply invested into the game.
Oh, right.
Feel like you want to immerse yourself in the full experience.
Oh yeah, and it actually kind of irks me, you know. I will mention that something that irks me about VR chat. Nice.
Awesome.
I'm gonna have to watch that. I'll send you the link afterwards, my dude.
Cool.
Let's see. Yeah. So, obviously, I played the role of Beerus, right? And there are other people who can go and get like a Beerus, but it's not usually the one that I am. I go for a very specific one, mainly because it has, and I assume it's a glitch. It can fly.
Right.
So I'll actually know there are other people that use the one that I use, because the one that I use, as well as like having the odd ability to fly, which barely any other avatar that I've seen can actually do, apart from a Shaggy with a Scooby-Doo head, who can also go Ultra Instinct, who can also perform a Kamehameha, who can also perform Beerus's version of the Spirit Bomb. He can also fly and stuff. He can also grow his neck really long. And
that's useful.
And turn into like a weird giraffe Scooby-Doo Shaggy combo. So yeah, it kind of irks me when I see other people playing some of the avatars that, like, you know, I'm going to sound like really big-headed and stuff. It really irks me when other people are using the Beerus avatar or trying to act like Beerus, but they don't really put any what seems like effort into reproducing like the vocals, which is what I heavily try to do. Anytime I'm in VR chat, it's really difficult for me, even if I'm another avatar, to not do the Beerus voice, because it's kind of became like my thing on there. So yeah, when it comes to like other people using the avatar, and even if they've got like they're able to like reproduce like the hand gestures and like able to move their heads and stuff, it kind of hurts me that they're not going that extra step further, especially if they're trying to play that character. Then they don't attempt to go that extra step further into making it more believable that, oh, you are this character right now.
Yeah. So it's not so much something about VR chat that irks you. It's the people that play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
to be fair, man,
I kind of understand it though, because I know that people are a fan of Beerus and they might want to just go around as the character and just be themselves, kind of like wearing a t-shirt with the logos on and stuff. I mean, I don't pretend to go outside and be like Adidas and stuff.
Yeah.
Or a representative for that matter. See, I would. In fact, I do have an avatar on the way that is going to be hopefully more like me IRL. But it's just getting the parts together and then putting them together and whatnot. So I will eventually have my own avatar, Cody. It's just for the time being, it's a little limited for me.
Well,
where was I?
Just upon talking about
So I understand people who would like want to be like Beerus, or would want to be Ichigo from Bleach, or would want to be Scooby-Doo, which they actually do have an avatar. They literally have a Scooby-Doo avatar in there. And it's weird because the hind legs aren't animated, so it's like they flop around. But yeah, I do understand other people's perspective. Or I just want to look like this character and be me.
Yeah. Well, to everyone else's credit, you can't expect everyone else to want to put in as much effort as you do. So
I don't know if that's. I don't know how much of a compliment that is.
yeah, take it or leave it. I'm not asked.
I'll take it as much as I can. Giggity.
Right, yo. Should we track along to the next?
Yeah,
point?
Sure thing. That's if Cody here hasn't got anything he would like to ask.
Now's your chance, man. Yeah. I gathered that from listening to you, Chris.
It is hard to explain. Yes, it is impossible to explain. Especially with all the damn knuckles running around. Exactly. I seriously got to get you on there at some point.
At some point.
Yeah.
And I can make the time for it.
In fact, I kind of learned that you can use PlayStation VR set on PC, so it might actually be advantageous to see if it'll work on VR chat.
At some point, we'll give it a shot. Could be cool. Well, right, yo, then let's get really deep and nerdy about some fan shit.
Hey.
And by fan shit, I mean theories. Not to say that all theories are shit, but some of them are pretty bad.
Hey. Actually, hold on. Let me check that. I've lost some of the numbers on here. Has it been taken up by all these advertisements? No, hold on. I've got it.
Possibly. They'll come back.
I got it.
Right. So I think we're pretty much deep diving straight into like a bunch of these Snoke theories that have been around. Pretty much since episode 7 came out. Some of them, like I said, quite plausible. Maybe even still today after The Last Jedi. Some of them are relatively still plausible. The majority of them, however, are just fucking ridiculous.
Especially this first one. Let's jump into it then. Which is actually the last one.
First one, but actually the last one.
Yeah.
Easy to keep up, guys.
Okay.
So just to confirm, as Chris mentioned earlier, we're currently looking at like this top 12 theories about Snoke website. This is where we're getting my list from. It's from ranker.com. And starting off at number 12 is the theory that Snoke is actually Boba Fett. How do you feel about that one, friend?
Especially after like all the videos I've watched on YouTube, I'm really unimpressed.
It's not a great theory.
I can't even come up with like some bullshit to say, oh, that might actually be a possibility. No, it's
only the only thing you could possibly grasp at to throw in the argument that Snoke is Boba Fett is the fact that Boba Fett might not be dead. That's the only argument you can make.
Oh no, he might not be dead now. Cause back when Legends was just the expanded universe. Wait, what is it? No, is it called Legends or is it called something else?
Yeah, it's Legends.
Back when Legends was part of the canon, Boba Fett escaped the Sarlacc pit. He went and did some stuff, and then he died again in the Sarlacc pit.
Well, but either way, he's got a fresh start now, and for all we know, he could have gotten out of the Sarlacc pit, right?
Potentially, yes.
That's the only argument that you can really make for why Boba Fett could be Snoke. Sure, okay, yes. So I imagine he'll have gotten some scars from that experience. There's another justification, I guess.
Yeah.
But unless I'm mistaken, and you got to remember Snoke being someone that was established in new canon. I don't believe there's any evidence to suggest, in new canon at least, that any clone has ever been capable of using the Force. which Snoke is very strong with.
Yeah.
So
I can't think of any. In fact, I can't even think of a case where back in Legends there has been a clone that has been able to use the Force in any capacity.
I mean, personally, I don't know any situation where a clone has been capable of using the Force.
Yeah.
But just to sort of cover my behind, I'm stating specifically that in new canon, I know for a fact there has not been a single clone that has shown evidence of being able to use the Force.
In fact, if you want to go like off on like the most impossible of impossibles, you could technically make an argument in Legends that potentially a droid could be Snoke, because there has actually been droids in Legend that actually do have Force abilities.
My one problem with that would be the fact that Snoke doesn't much look like a droid.
No. I mean, you would have.
He's a little fleshy. He's a bit too fleshy for a droid.
I mean, it would be a weird thing for like a droid to, like, over the course of thousands of years, to actually being created like thousands of years ago, and two to do a reverse General Grievous and turn into some kind of fleshy cyborgy kind of deal.
I mean, one of the things we mentioned as to why we were so interested in Snoke's character back when we did our last official podcast, which was the Star Wars Last Jedi podcast. Yeah, we mentioned that Snoke was a really interesting character because you see just how powerful he is with the Force. So it would be quite a stretch. I mean, fair enough if you want to maybe at some point establish that there was one clone who actually did end up somehow being Force sensitive. But to have the very first clone not only be Force sensitive, but to be potentially one of the most powerful Force users ever, it's just a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. I mean, you could maybe argue that, and I know that people don't like the midichlorians, but look, here's how I look at the midichlorians. It was a way to explain how one person could have more force potential than another. That's the way I interpreted midichlorians.
The way I always really look at it is, this is for anyone, because I don't really care, but for anyone that really hates the idea of the midichlorians, is, we've had, you got to remember the prequels are set before, like the original trilogy, where the midichlorians aren't mentioned whatsoever, right? We've had things in our history where we once believed one thing, and now, if we think about it today, it's like, that's fucking stupid. Why did we once think that? So that's how I always look at it with the prequels. If you really hate the midichlorians, you just, in your head canon, have it be so that that's what they believed back then. And then in 20 years' time, they didn't believe that anymore. They thought it was stupid. So, theories about how things work in the world change over time.
But what was the word? You could technically make the argument that maybe one of the clones were experimented on and they just injected more midichlorians into them. I mean, I could kind of explain like why Snoke is all deformed and stuff, because like maybe they experimented on him for like a long period of time, and that means he would have been able to see the rise and fall of the Empire. But that's going into long odds and a route that I don't even want to think about.
But even then, that's us then talking about some random clone at this point that the universe has never really followed. We've followed Boba Fett, though. We've seen him as a child and we've seen him as an adult. So I think it's not really that far-fetched, or it would be a bit far-fetched to sort of say that could be the case with Boba Fett. Because I think, at least while his dad was alive, he cared about his son clone. So he wouldn't have let any of that shit happen anyway. Stuff's established with Boba Fett in the Clone Wars series. Nothing implies that shit like what you just mentioned, being injected with midichlorians and all that, ever happened to the kid. So, yeah, I can't even try to justify the Boba Fett thing. I will say, talking about Snoke's deformities and everything, there is a theory much further up the list, which I'm like, that's actually a pretty cool theory as to like why he's all like super deformed and everything. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Yeah. Okay, so on to the next one then, at number 11. Snoke is apparently Ezra Bridger, the main character from the series Rebels.
I would like to say no to this theory, but I can't justify myself saying no apart from like, oh, the appearance of Ezra's ethnicity, or the fact that his eye color is I think they're different. His eye color is different. The fact that he's wait, what period does Rebels happen? That's after the Clone Wars, isn't it?
Rebels happens after the Clone Wars, and if we start off with season 1 kind of thing, I think it's set like 5 years before A New Hope. So 5 years before the original Star Wars movie.
Right. How old is Ezra when it first starts off? Like 10, something like that?
That's a good question. I think he's a bit older than 10. I don't know, maybe 13, 14, maybe. I might be terrible at judging age with animated characters.
Cody does bring up a good point. They can change anything at any point.
Well, I mean, not if it's established canon, they can't.
Yeah, I mean, they did it all the time in the comic books.
Yeah, but not now, not with new canon. It's not, they've not done that, and they're not going to.
And technically they've done that with the midichlorians, because they mention it once and they never mention it again.
Just because they've never mentioned it doesn't mean it's been thrown away. Midichlorians are canon. Whether people like it or not, they're canon.
Okay.
You know, they couldn't change anything that they wanted to whenever they wanted to. They couldn't make up a thing that, you know, Boba Fett never actually went into the Sarlacc pit in the first place. You clearly see in episode 6 that he does. You could never make up bullshit that Luke never lost his hand. You know, this is all stuff that's canon that can't be changed. Movie canon can never be changed, like ever, unless they reboot the entire franchise. Now, obviously, novels and comics and all that other shit, you know, that could be if they decide that they want to hit a reset button on it, but just based off of the way they're trying to formulate everything, it's very unlikely that they will. I think they want this canon to sort of stick. And like I said, because they've got that whole plan of everything being canon from now on. Obviously with a couple of exceptions, like particular video games and stuff.
Damn it. Force Awakens was amazing though.
Force Unleashed, I think you mean.
Unleashed, that's it. Look, they're very similar to each other sounding. It's Star Wars The Force something.
Well, I think I was actually, as you were talking, quickly trying to double check on Snoke's eye colour. Although, not that I really think it matters in the first place, because actually looking at Snoke's eyes, they are actually the same colour as Ezra's.
Are they?
They're blue.
Are they like a deep blue, or?
They are quite a deep blue.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. Alright. Because I was expecting to open in the image really quick and seeing, like, you know, the Sith eyes and all that, because Snoke's such a powerful dark side user. And usually, obviously, if you're heavy in the dark side, you get, like, Jar Jar eyes. But Snoke doesn't have that, so that's my little statement busted. I don't know, I mean, I've not watched the last, like... So I'm trying to remember how many seasons of Rebels there are. I don't know if it's 4 or 5. Either way, the last half season I've not watched, and I've not actually watched the last episode of the previous season either. But I know they were hinting towards Ezra going to the dark side.
I think actually at one point he did that Sith eyes himself.
I can't remember if he did. I don't remember him getting Sith eyes. I know he's been like tempted with the dark side and actually used a bit of dark side power.
Yeah.
But he's not like deep dived into it. But with with it being like a TV show and it being for children, they've tried to drag it out, which means sometimes his character feels like he flip flops a bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's Ezra. You know, there's been that many theories about Ezra being a very significant movie character. A lot of people thought Benicio del Toro's character from The Last Jedi, the stutterer, the codebreaker guy, was going to be Ezra Bridger.
I seen a theory that the codebreaker guy might be Snoke.
When?
I think it was yesterday when we were looking for topics.
How could the codebreaker guy be Snoke when they both exist at the same time?
Well, it would go along with the thing of like the most like what's it, the most that thing that fucking George Lucas said about Yoda and Jar Jar. Like it's the guy that you least expect. I forget the quote. It's like the most unimpressive person, kind of. Oh, damn it! Do you know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean, but like my problem with that being is that Yoda and Jar Jar didn't completely change their appearance throughout several points in the films.
True.
You know,
true.
they always look. Yoda always looks like Yoda, and Jar Jar always looks like Jar Jar. As unfortunate as that may be for him, for the codebreaker to also be Snoke, he would be changing his face several times in the film and have to actually be in two places at once. Unless the theory is saying that the Snoke we know isn't actually Snoke and that the real Snoke is the codebreaker. That's a different argument at that point. But and at that point I don't get the point in why there wouldn't be much of a reveal if he was like, no, I am the real Snoke. It's like, we didn't know who Snoke was in the first place, so what was the point in that?
No, it'd be more like, no, I am the real Snoke. With that terrible stutter that that particular actor forgets to do half of the time.
Yeah. You know, he's getting his own, like, comic at some point or whatever.
Is
like, really? Are they going to do the same thing with him there? Where like half the time he stutters and the other time he just speaks normally?
I think that would be hilarious. and really dumb at the same. I think it would be stupidly hilarious. It's hilarious because it's so stupid.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, what was it like? Just in essence of how ridiculous some of these theories have been. I remember back before Force Awakens came out, there was people, you know, when they were showing like little shots of Kylo Ren and everything, quick shots, people were like, it's Luke under that mask. Luke Skywalker is Kylo Ren. I'm like, you realize proportionally that doesn't work, right? There is no way Luke Skywalker fits into that outfit. So it's just some of these theories. They're laughable.
I mean, if Luke Skywalker did turn out to be Kylo Ren, it would have to be the case where, like, he would have a body double kind of deal, and they would just put his face on, but then his face won't match up with his body type.
It wouldn't work. It would make no sense whatsoever. So, look, I'm into the idea of Ezra falling to the dark side, but I don't see him being Snoke, to be honest. It's not as ridiculous as Boba Fett. The Boba Fett one's insane.
Isn't Rebels finished now?
No, Rebels is on its mid-season break.
Is it?
And then it's got like a few more episodes to go, and then it's done.
So where are they go? Because Obi-Wan's not going to be a factor anymore.
No.
That's spoilers, by the way. Obi-Wan's no longer going to be shown. Neither is Darth Maul.
He did.
He did. He had a good death. I wish it was longer, but he had a good death.
Yeah.
Hold on. I just had a thought. I just had a thought. You know how we were talking not too long ago about how there can be more than one chosen one.
Yeah.
Right? Why do I get the feeling potentially that Urza is another chosen one?
Yeah.
He's messed with the dark side, but he's mostly light side.
You know, there's probably been 1,000 Jedis that have dabbled a bit in the dark side.
Mm.
And that doesn't make them suddenly the chosen one.
Right.
You know?
Mm.
I mean, you gotta think Ezra is around at the same time Luke is around.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they're not age-wise, they're not too dissimilar from each other. Because Leia shows up in Rebels, and Ezra and Leia don't have a huge age gap between them. They're quite, and obviously Leia is the same age as Luke, so they're like around about the same age anyway. So yeah, during Ezra's time, Luke Skywalker is the chosen one.
True.
Plus, I don't actually fully know what the situation with Snoke is, because the main hints from right now is that Snoke's from somewhere in the Outer Rim galaxy. He's this really dark entity that even the Emperor sensed and all that. But I'm sure not long after Force Awakens came out, there was mention that Snoke was around to actually see the rise and fall of the Empire. So he saw the Jedi get wiped out. He saw Anakin basically do all that shit. He saw the Emperor formulate the Empire, and then he saw the Empire get wiped out. So I'm like, I mean, I don't know that Ezra would have necessarily, one, seen all that stuff and been in the Outer Rim section of the galaxy as a dark entity. Considering I don't believe the planet where he's from is from that region of space.
Oh wait, hold on. I think there's another reason why Ezra can't be Snoke. They're totally different species.
Well, we don't actually know what Snoke is.
Well, whatever he is, he's a rather tall, lanky man with a giant head.
I mean, you know, Ezra could have gotten like quite a big growth spurt a second time around. You know,
lost all his hair.
Yeah,
decided to wear gold
something
pajamas.
bad, obviously. So, you know, he maybe went through this really tragic event, and so he likes to stay comfortable for the rest of his life now. So he doesn't have to get his hands too dirty. So he just sits on his throne all day in his bathrobes. Don't get more comfy than that.
True.
Right, so on to maybe a more impossible one, but a one that I imagine you favour a lot more than the other two. Snoke as Galen Marek.
See, I want Galen Marek, aka Starkiller, to be canonized. I really do. He's an excellent character. He's basically the fucking chosen one. He basically is. He uses both the dark and the light. He usually starts off dark and ends up light. He's got a really tragic story, especially in the games. I think the novelization have a more tragic version of a story. But he's a really compelling character. He wasn't brought up correctly. He didn't have a normal childhood. Most of it was just spent training to kill other Jedi. So all that packed in one. He's a brilliant character that I would love. I would absolutely adore him to be canonized, whether that be in a comic book or, in fact, even if it wasn't a comic book, I would love it. A TV series, I could deal with that, but preferably I would love to see him in the movies. The more I think of the thought of him being Snoke, the more I really don't like it. Mainly because of like you said, Snoke is apparently from the Outer Rim galaxy, and Starkiller, aka Galen Marek, is not from the Outer Rim. He's from he was found on the Wookiees' home planet, which I forget the name of. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
The Wookiees' home planet of that one. Yeah, he wasn't born in the Outer Rim. He was born in the Star Wars galaxy that we know and love.
Yeah.
And to say like, oh, we've changed Galen Marek's story, aka Starkiller's story, so now that he has always been Snoke. Well, if that's the case, then that's not Galen Marek. That's a totally different character that you're just telling us, oh, this is our version of Galen Marek, but isn't Galen Marek.
Yeah. See, to me, I think it's kind of almost impossible to make Starkiller a canon character again.
Yeah.
Just based off of like what Rebels has established that Vader does, and actually what novels have established that Vader does during the purge of the Jedi Order and all Jedis and all Force users. So it's for that reason it's like heavily implied Vader doesn't go and get another like secret apprentice kind of thing. Which would sort of throw out the possibility of Starkiller. The one aspect where I like this idea a little bit more than some of the other ones is one of the big things I've also said is another reason you can't have Starkiller be canon is because in Force Awakens you have Starkiller Base. And it doesn't make sense to have a character called Starkiller and Starkiller Base be a thing as well, especially not just for a new character who ends up getting called Starkiller to just randomly show up. However, if Starkiller himself turned out to be Snoke, it would kind of make sense that he went and called the planet Starkiller Base. So it's such a little detail that's making me like this theory more than the other two that we've been through. Overall, I still don't agree with it. I still don't think he's going to be canon anytime soon.
Yeah. I think there is one instance where I wouldn't mind Galen Marek being Snoke, is if it was the case where he had a similar storyline in the Outer Rim. It just didn't happen in the Star Wars galaxy. He had his own similar story that actually happened in the Outer Rim, and then he later changed his name to Snoke after maybe like his deformities came along. I think that's the only instance I would allow.
Just to quickly clarify with like everyone, the Outer Rim is still the Star Wars galaxy. It's just the outer part of that galaxy. It's not like a different galaxy. Either way, I was just curious. I was going to ask you something very similar along the lines of what you just mentioned. Because you're saying, oh, if they changed his story up, that's not actually Galen Marek. It's just your version of Galen Marek. Would you be okay if they canonized the character, but they didn't follow the exact same story that he went through? So, like, maybe he goes through very similar events, but he wasn't necessarily Vader's apprentice or any of that kind of stuff. Would you be okay with them trying to bring the character back under those circumstances?
I think as long as his experience are very similar to the Galen Marek that we actually know, that would be fine. Mainly because we could still have the same amount of empathy. We still know the character, but then you run the risk of them saying, well, he didn't kill his family, and it took him. He killed his family just before he started wanting to come over and kill Luke Skywalker. If that was the deal, then that would be like really off. But the story would have to be literally very similar to the experiences that he's already has had back in I suppose it's classified as Legends now, isn't it? Or actually, was Starkiller ever intended to be any kind of canon?
Yeah, when the game was made at the time, it was canon.
Oh, okay. So yeah. To finish up my point there, which Yeah, so in order to keep like myself and other people happy, the experiences that he's had already would have to be very similar, and they would have to be very careful with any kind of character change or plot change or events that he's previously had. They would just have to be very careful of that, and if they kept true that character and just change the location, I think then it's fine.
Rightio. Let's move on.
Sure.
At number 9, Snoke is the son of Mortis. Now, just for everyone, for the uninitiated, the son of Mortis is a character that basically shows up in the Star Wars Clone Wars series. He's basically, I can't remember the actual name of the episode that he shows up in, but he's a very powerful Force user. He's one of 3. I'm just trying to quickly read this little bit right here. The son was one of 3 Force wielders Anakin met on the planet Mortis. He's a species of highly powerful shape-shifting Force users. So yeah, he's very much intact with the Force. He's extremely powerful with it. And in the story in the Clone Wars, he tries to lead Anakin to the dark side. So I don't buy into this one, but I think this one has a lot of plausibility behind it. Obviously, one, they have a very similar look to one another.
Apart from the main thing, black irises.
Black irises, and he's red. The red markings on his face. There was few differences, but it does say shape-shifting Force users. So if he can change his shape, then he can change the way his eyes look. And for all we know, he could have been halfway through shape-shifting and then got stuck in whatever form he was in, and that's why Snoke looks so debauched. So this guy being very heavy into leading people to the dark side, not necessarily to being Sith, just to the dark side, and being extremely powerful in the Force as well, as kind of looking a bit like Snoke with some minor differences. This one has some plausibility behind it. The main factor that kind of de-theorizes it is the fact that Anakin kills the son of Mortis. But we've seen in Star Wars before, characters that were killed have come back.
Yep.
You know, Maul is an example of that. So,
and if you're on the dark side, you're more likely to come back.
So, I don't know. I mean, this is one of those characters where my memory is very vague about this one, so I can't really dive too much into detail with them. But other than the fact it would probably really confuse audiences if they were to reveal that he is the son of Mortis, and most audiences would be like, well, who the fuck's that? Logically speaking, this is one of the more plausible of all the theories thus far. Like I said, a lot of them have them being just characters that were bad guys or were good guys, and for now, for some reason, they specifically want people to go to the dark side, where and in their scenario, they'd probably want you to go Sith. Whereas with this character, if he was in that kind of situation, yes, he'd be pushing you towards the dark side. He's very manipulative. He wouldn't necessarily be pushing you towards Sith. He'd just be pushing you towards the dark side, which is what Snoke does. Snoke doesn't want you to be a Sith. He just wants you to use the dark side. And like we said, we saw how powerful Snoke was. That's very viable with this character. Other than that, I can't really say much. No. So if you got nothing else, I guess we could move up to the next one.
I think we might want to skip a few, just considering how long we've already been running.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, first of all, we'll run through the title, who they've been claimed. Number 8 was Snoke as Gallius Rax. Now, just to clarify, myself and Chris here don't really read much, or if any, of like the novels or the comic books or whatever. We might get a bit of information from them every now and then, but we don't really dive deep into them. I have no clue who Gallius Rax is.
He's from... Wait, did you already say he's from the comics?
Pardon?
Did you already say that he's from the comics?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a character from the comics. That's pretty much all I know.
Although I will say I kind of like his face design.
Yeah,
Kind of.
I mean, the guy was meant to be quite close to the Emperor, so it's kind of plausible. I mean, Snoke has a bit more of a nose than this guy does, but assuming we are getting the right picture.
Yeah.
But if this is in fact the accurate picture, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Snoke's look was based off of this character.
Yeah.
That's about as much as I can say. I don't, however, think we can quite skip over the next one, because this one was quite a big one.
Considering I think people would have heard it time and time again, I think.
But I think we can mention a couple of points about it before we jump over it. We don't have to stay on it for too long. At number 7, you knew it was coming up at some point, as Snoke as Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Now, the Jar Jar being Sith theory, I adore. I adore that theory. I think it's fantastic. It was one of the things that helped me get through the Jar Jar episodes of Clone Wars. I would have really struggled with those episodes if it wasn't for the Jar Jar as Sith theory. In the movies, he doesn't irritate us quite as much as he does in the series. But, really looking into it, it is just extremely likely that the Sith idea was the inevitable way that Lucas was going to go, considering what he did with Yoda. However, it was obviously not Lucas's idea to have Jar Jar turn out to be Snoke, as Snoke was never conceived at the time. And considering how big of a fanboy J.J. Abrams is of Star Wars, he ain't a fan of Jar Jar Binks. So I don't think there was ever a shot in hell that Jar Jar was going to be Snoke. That would have irritated masses of people. On a more inside universe argument, however, the anatomy of the two characters is just completely wrong. So it's not possible. And yes, Jar Jar may have Sith eyes, but as we just established a little while back, Snoke does not. So it's very unlikely.
Although isn't there do forgive aren't there other like alien races that are born with Sith looking eyes?
I don't know.
Because I mean, like Darth Maul, for example, he was literally born with Sith eyes.
See, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's actually established anywhere that he was born with Sith eyes.
It was born in it was born. It was a Legends thing. He was literally born with Sith eyes. That's why Palpatine
well, you see,
took him as a child.
That's a Legends thing, though.
But even so, I mean, come on. It would explain why Palpatine would be like, oh, this child. Oh, look at him. I'm gonna turn him into an assassin.
Yeah, I can't remember what the current canon is for why Palpatine picked out Maul specifically. It might be exactly the same. I don't remember. But I'm not 100% on whether or not he actually is. Actually, sorry, he was born with Sith eyes. I'm completely losing focus of what it is I'm talking about. Although, to be fair, looking at some of these other people of the same race of Maul, they do have very similar eyes. To the Sith anyway. So, yeah, it's fully plausible. I'm not even sure if Maul's race... it's either Maul's race or a very similar looking race that is literally called the Sith race.
The Sith are, they have like tentacles on their face.
So, yeah. Either way. I don't even remember how we got on to talking about Maul now. Oh, the eyes. That's how. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Moving on straight away. Snoke is Palpatine at number 6.
It's got some potential. Palpatine's been established as being able to transfer his consciousness to another body.
Maybe
he's already deformed. Although I'm pretty sure when he switches into another body, he actually gets pretty much a fresh face. That's assuming that the face is fresh in the first place. But I hope I actually really hope this theory doesn't hold any water with J.J. Abrams or any other director in the future, because look, Palpatine's had his fucking scream time. Get rid of him.
Yeah.
Enough. No more
You know,
Palpatine.
I think there is another one on the. There's another theory on this list that everyone at Lucasfilm is a lot more fond of and probably holds a lot more weight than this one does. Plus, I believe in one of the novelizations, might be of Force Awakens or a different book. Snoke mentions something about how Vader and Palpatine were very foolish. So I doubt, for that very reason, I very much doubt it's Palpatine. Number 5, one I actually like very much, to be honest with you. Not agree with, not believe in, but I like the theory. Snoke is the original chosen one. This one is kind of cool. This one's very brief, so I'll just quickly read through it. The novel Darth Plagueis describes how Palpatine's master attempted to manipulate midichlorians to create a living embodiment of the Force. This supposedly resulted in the creation of Anakin Skywalker, who was prophesied as the chosen one, the one who would bring balance to the Force. There is a theory, however, that Snoke is a prototype of the Chosen One, inadvertently created by Plagueis' experiments. This would explain Snoke's malformed appearance, since he would essentially be a failed version of the Chosen One. Now, I kind of like that theory. It would kind of make sense as to why he's all deformed looking. He would be a very old character. He would be a very old person by now if it was true that he was conceived before Anakin. It would bring validity to the fact that he saw the rise and the fall of the Empire. We don't know where Plagueis did this, so Snoke could have been born in the Outer Rim sections of the galaxy. It would make sense as to why he wasn't all that fond of Palpatine, because Palpatine killed off Plagueis. And maybe Snoke then saw that as a flaw in the whole Sith regime. So this one, it's kind of a good idea. It's a lot better than the idea of like him being a clone of the Chosen One, as in like a clone of Anakin or whatever, a clone of Vader or something. So I kind of like this one. Like I said, I don't buy it, but I mean, I like it. This one, however, I assume you don't have much on this point.
If it was the case, I wouldn't mind. If it turns out not to be the case, I wouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with that. I don't know how much you want to dive into this one. I don't care for this theory whatsoever. Snoke is Mace Windu. And number 4.
I mean, like, Samuel L. Jackson does bring up some good points about it. Like, Jedi have fallen hundreds, if not thousands, of feet and not been injured. Like when Anakin Skywalker jumped out the car essentially and fell thousands of feet and just grabbed onto another car, and he wasn't injured at all. It would also kind of explain it could kind of be explained how he would have turned deformed because of the Sith lightning. Although I'm pretty sure that Snoke has got both of his arms, and Mace's was it both of his hands or just one of his hands?
Either way, his limbs got chopped.
Yeah. So, like, you know, I understand it's like far into the future and stuff, and maybe if you did want an organic hand and or arm replacement, it could actually happen. It might take longer, or it might be harder to acquire, or you might have to go through other means to actually get a proper arm back. Although in saying that, you can actually get the skin to go over the arm, which actually looks rather flesh-like, and I believe that's actually it's meant to be. That's actually meant to be the case. But then you have to explain like the height difference, the size difference, why his head is bloated, the facial difference, in fact the complete facial difference,
and the fact that his eyes are different.
Yeah, pretty much.
I just can't see why. First of all, I'm sorry, I think Mace Windu was dead before he ever hit the ground, to be honest with you. But I don't see why a betrayal of a Jedi turning to the dark side would cause Mace Windu to then turn to the dark side.
Well, I mean,
surely he'd be very much fighting for the light in that scenario.
Well, you could think of it like this, and I think somebody's already talked about this because I've listened to other people talking about this theory. The fact is, Mace Windu was the closest to the dark side the closest Jedi to be on the dark side without being on the dark side. He was literally on that cusp of being on the dark side, and that's mainly because of his fighting style and some of his force abilities that he had. Plus the fact that he was betrayed by someone who he didn't actually like, who actually ended up on the council, who was supposedly the chosen one, who was falling to the dark side and betraying you. I think I would go against the Jedi Order especially if a person like that could be like in a seat of any kind of power, as like on the council and stuff.
But that never happened. Anakin was never on the council.
No.
He was made a master.
No. He was.
No, it's the other way around, wasn't it?
Yes, he got a seat on the council.
He got a seat on the council.
Recognize him as a master.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I flipped that entirely.
You tricksy devil.
No, my mind, bastard. Yeah, I don't know that I agree with Mace Windu being the closest to the dark side without actually being on the dark side. And once again, I just feel like he was so strong about the Jedi Order. That's why he wasn't fond of Anakin, because Anakin didn't necessarily do those things, like do what Jedi was supposed to do.
Yeah.
He didn't play by the book per se. So I just think, Mace obviously had his trust issues. I can't see that character just turning dark. I feel like that would be a betrayal of his character.
Hold on. Yeah. I forgot. Anakin does point out something that kind of makes Mace look like the bad guy, in a way. The fact that the Jedi way would have been to capture Palpatine, not kill him.
Yeah, I think in that situation, Mace was very desperate to wipe out the Sith, and maybe even being the one to do it, to prove the whole Chosen One thing wrong, since he didn't like Anakin in the first place. That was a flaw in his part, and I'm not saying Mace Windu was a character that went by the book and did everything he was told to in the way he was told to. I'm just simply pointing out that it. I just don't imagine going full dark.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to skip over this one. At number 3 is Snoke as the Grand Inquisitor, and to me, the only validity behind this one is that he looks kind of similar.
I mean, if you inflate his cranium, I could believe that, especially with his very slim jawline.
To me, it's kind of a similar situation with the Son of Mortis on this one, except the Son of Mortis has more validity because he was very strong in the Force. Whereas, the Grand Inquisitor, on the other hand, not quite as much.
Yeah.
Number 2, probably the most likely of all of them, for the theories at least. Snoke is just a completely new character.
I have no problem with that.
Okay, so your opinion's changed on that one.
I mean,
Um,
I don't mind him being a completely new character. I just want to know more about him.
See, that's the page I'm on. I don't need him to come back in episode 9. And I don't need him to be someone of significance that we've already met before. I'm perfectly fine with him being a complete new character. Just give us more information about the guy. You know, I didn't need it for episode 8, as long as more information is coming at some point. And preferably, I'm saying he doesn't need to come back in episode 9, but at the same time, I'd rather not get that information in a novel or a comic. I'd rather film was the one to tell me.
Here's
The whole
a quick
situation with
spitball.
Snoke.
What if we don't get any... What if he doesn't show up in episode 9, but in episode 10, 11, 12, we get more of Snoke?
See, I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
I mean, episode 10, 11, 12 is like millennia away.
Although,
But,
actually, could that actually happen? Because isn't the number thing like so that it's in chronological order? So episode 2 is like years ahead of episode 1, etc., etc.
Well, they're in chronological order. They don't have to be set years apart. Because obviously episode 8 is set like 5 minutes after. It might even be set like 30 seconds after episode 7. So they don't have to be years apart, but they are chronologically ordered. So, yeah, I don't know. I like the theory. Well, it's not a theory. I think it's the most likely of all of them, to be honest with you.
The one that's most plausible.
It's this is the one that I was referring to when I said Lucasfilm has a one that has the most weight, is backing a very particular theory, which I believe is that Snoke is a completely new character.
Yeah.
Right. Well, at number 1, probably everybody's favorite of the theories.
Yep.
Is Snoke is Darth Plagueis. Now this is a good way of basically pointing out how Snoke doesn't need to show up in episode 9, and we could still get a movie on him.
Yeah.
Because, holy shit, you know what? You were saying get rid of Palpatine, he's had enough screen time, but if they want to do a Plagueis or a young Palpatine movie, which would involve Plagueis, I want to see that movie.
Oh yeah. Although, I kind of run into the problem of who's going to play a young Palpatine, because I would love them to bring back. I'm sorry, but I'm really the only person from Star Wars I remember the name of is Christopher Lee.
Ian McDiarmid, I think is his name.
Yeah. I would love for him to be brought back and to play a younger version of himself, but it's kind of not really possible with how old he is. So it's kind of like you would need someone who can play essentially Ian McDiarmid playing Palpatine.
I pitched one back in a previous show we did, and you quite liked it.
Okay.
I think Tom Hiddleston should be the one to play young Palpatine.
Tom Hiddleston? Remind me.
You'll know him as Loki.
Right. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. I got you.
You know?
Yeah.
I just think he's got the right attitude for it. He's got a very similar, like, Palpatine smile. He's good at playing an evil, manipulative character. I agree with you on your point you said last time, is as long as he doesn't have the Loki hair, then he should be all good. But I very much doubt they'd give him Loki hair, since don't want people thinking of Loki watching a Star Wars movie. But I think he'd be a great young Palpatine. And then
it's going to be really difficult for him to play the manipulator, and kind of actually no, it'd be I can't really see him playing any other manipulator other than Loki, because it's more like a political manipulator rather than just a straight up a drawer of the deck kind of manipulator.
Yeah, but first off, Tom Hiddleston's a good actor, so I think he'd be able to pull it off. And his experience playing Loki alone, experience playing a manipulative bastard.
Yeah.
Obviously not the same kind of manipulative, but it's still in that same vein. So he can sort of, fool people into thinking he's the good guy when he's actually not.
Yeah.
He's good at that. So I think he'd be fantastic at that. And then that could lead us into a very interesting movie that would show off Plagueis and possibly show that Palpatine thinks he killed Plagueis, but he did not. And plus, in terms of as far as canon's concerned, we don't know that much about Plagueis, at all. So we don't know where he's from. Every piece of information we have about Snoke, and there's nothing that we know about Plagueis and that we know about Snoke that contradict each other. In fact, if anything, there's more hints in The Force Awakens that Snoke is Plagueis than anything suggesting he can't be.
Yeah.
So I think the top two deserve to be in the top two because they are the most valid of all the theories.
Yeah.
Well, we are currently running at a mark of roughly about an hour and a half, probably an hour and 20 minutes if you take away that 10-minute starting point that we did.
Yeah.
So, should we just... Is it time to reveal to the world, despite the fact you all already know this, by the way. You all know who he is.
Yeah. And if you don't, he's in the credits. He's been in interviews. He's talking about the movie.
He has.
He's been in the movie, kind of.
Well, yeah, he has.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Snoke is Andy Serkis.
Yep.
It's literally who
there
he
you
is.
have it.
Or rather, Andy Serkis is Snoke.
All theories busted. You're welcome.
There you go. Done. Podcast is over.
So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show.
No. There's kind of a specific reason why we've done this.
Go on.
It's mainly because, look, we haven't really got anything solid to assume Snoke is anyone other than Snoke. So going back to the 12 theories, Snoke is most likely his own character that has been written to be Snoke and nobody else. So the fact that we've read through all these theories and stuff, and only one of them being that Snoke is just Snoke and he's a new character, the reason for doing that is theories are a great thing. They are a great practice. It's good to have your brain working. It's fantastic to have your brain working and to think about things deeply, because it does help, and it's more endearing to think of your stories that way, as long as it doesn't build up too much hype. It's fantastic for that. It's a brilliant exercise, especially if you do stuff like script writing or just general thinking about video game plots and stuff. It's fantastic for that. But just coming up with a theory just to fill in the gap because it seems convenient is worse in the long run for yourself and other people who might actually get invested into said theory.
I mean, look, theories are extremely fun. They're a way to keep you occupied while you wait for the next film. Not that you don't have other stuff going on in your lives to keep you occupied, but in terms of investing yourself in that world, it keeps you occupied in the world while you wait for the next chapter. But at the end of the day, theories can be extremely hurtful towards a film. I don't know if you've seen this, Chris, but if you look at the reactions that a lot of people are giving towards The Last Jedi right now, it's a very mixed film. There's a lot of people who really like it, and there's a lot of people that fucking hate it. And you listen to the logic behind why a lot of people hate it. And look, if you hate the movie, you hate the movie. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
No.
But you can't deny that a lot of people dislike this movie because it doesn't add up to a lot of what a lot of their theories were for who characters were going to be.
All the hype for after all these years.
This film basically...
The expectation has been there for literally 20, if not more years? Kind of deal. Ever since the trilogy.
Yeah. So, I get that Force Awakens sets up a lot of questions. And Last Jedi kicks half of them out the window. But just because that doesn't add up with what you wanted in your theories, doesn't necessarily make it a bad film.
No.
I'll reiterate once again, if you don't like the movie, fair enough, that's fantastic. I don't like the movie. But don't hate it just because it didn't add up to what you wanted in terms of your theories of who characters were going to be. So, yeah.
Pretty much it. But look, we can certainly say for the time being that either Snoke is his own character, but we definitely know that Andy Serkis is Snoke.
That is a fact.
And he will always be Snoke until Snoke is literally no longer needed.
Yep. Right, yo, guys. Unless you've got any more points to add, Chris. I think that about wraps things up.
No, yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
Good stuff.
It's
right, guys. Well, I say once again, I really hope you enjoyed this show.
Indeed.
And enjoyed the long build up to finding out who Snoke was. We appreciate it. Really do.
Which has taken up maybe a minute of this entire podcast just to tell you that, oh, it's Andy Serkis. There you go.
There you go. There's your information you've been waiting for. Yeah. So do us all a favor. I've said it about 1,000 times, and I'll say it about 1,000 more, just not today. Hit all those buttons. You know, you've got that subscribe one. It's over there. You can see it. It's right in front of you. You've got that like and the dislike there in front of you as well. Unless you've got your back to your computer, and then it's kind of weird.
Or unless they're watching on YouTube Gaming, which I don't fully know the layout, but I imagine it's the same.
I'm sure you'll find it either way.
Yeah.
There's also a comment section. I mean, not necessarily right now because it's live, but there will be. But there's a chat right now, so that's technically comment. And you need buttons to talk in a chat.
Buttons.
The microphone.
Every button.
So hit all the buttons, guys.
Although I show off a little bit because, like, between me and you, we've actually got more buttons on the screen than they do. Not that we'll be hitting all the buttons because we don't want to fuck things up.
We don't want to mess things up. We can't hit all the buttons. That's why we need you to do it for us.
We're lazy, you see. Not to the extent that we won't hit all the buttons ourselves. It's just that it's inappropriate for us to do it right now.
Exactly. Right, guys. See you next time.
Belly button.